Hey, what is up, everybody? I am Cam from Epic Conversions. I hope you're doing amazing out there on this fine Wednesday evening. Now, I just got a little bit of inspiration. I was out here hanging out in my garage. I was actually jamming on my old acoustic guitar. Man, this guitar here is an old Alvarez. It's been with me for a long time. I got my Martin's been with me for probably about 15, 16 years. My old Alvarez has been with me even longer. I probably had this old thing for 30 years. I probably had this thing for. Picked this one up in Rhode Island quite a few years ago, and I've had it ever since. But anyways, I was out here just jamming a little bit, and I thought I'd take a break and talk to you guys about some online business stuff, some marketing type stuff. The inspiration struck me, and I'm in the middle of a product launch right now. I'm in the middle of a product launch. I've launched a product. It's called the new PLR Manifesto, right? And it's really cool. It's like a 14 email autoresponder sequence. It's 14 emails, about 8,500 words. And what you can do with it is you can load that content up in your autoresponder. So when people sign up for your email list, they will get those 14 emails. You can send them out daily or whatever. Also, it comes with a PLR license, so you can just package them up and resell if you want. Um, you can package them up and resell them if you want to, or you can use AI to kind of convert that content to other things like blog posts or whatever. You can do a lot with the content. It's originally written content, human written by me, so it's very cool. But I'm in the middle of it, and if you're interested in that product, just go to epicconversions.com/no AI emails. Very easy. epicconversions.com/no AI epicconversions.com/no AI emails. That's where you can find my product that I've launched. Out here, it's a little unstable out here. My internet connection is a little unstable out here. I have a detached garage. It's not connected to my house, so I'm a little bit of a distance away from my internet, and I'm just on my phone. My phone, not Wi-Fi, but my data for my phone. So we're doing this straight phone data here, and my connection's a little spotty out here in my garage. But we're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna do the best we can. But I want to give you 5 things. See, I've been in business online for about 15 years now. Okay, I've been running online business for about 15 years, selling products online. Man, I started selling physical books back in 2011 on the Amazon Marketplace. Man, then I wrote an ebook about how to sell physical books. And then I took that ebook and I turned it into a membership club about how to sell products on Amazon. And then from there, I learned how to launch digital products and do affiliate marketing. And then I learned how to sell PLR products, and I was just off to the races, right? So it's been a crazy journey these last 15 years, man. And I've had a great time. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of in-betweens. I made a lot of money, man. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars these last 15 years in online business, and I've had a good time doing it, and I've really enjoyed the freedom that having an online business has given me, has afforded me. I love working for myself. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I thought what I would do tonight is I just had an inspiration. I wanted to give you five if if my connection here is not going to hold up for us. I want to give you 5 things not to do. 5 things not to do that will help you. And if I remember where I learned them, I'll tell you where I learned them. If I can think of examples, I'll give you examples. I can pretty much give you examples for everything on this list because I've done them all wrong before. Okay, I've messed them all up, and that's how I know them. So let's work through my list. The 5 experience, 5 things to do. One, the first one that you don't want to do is random acts of marketing, right? This is something I learned from Dan Kennedy. Random acts of marketing. What does that mean? That just basically means, you want to be very consistent with your marketing. When you create a product or you create a service and you put it out there, you don't just do a little bit of marketing here and a little bit of marketing there. you put together a solid plan for your marketing and you stay very consistent with it. Now, of course, you have to adjust it here and adjust it there and tweak it to where it's working just the way you want. But none of that is just random acts of marketing. None of that is just try a little bit over here, then try this over here, and then, well, that didn't really work. I'm going to go over here and do this. And it's all hit or miss, right? No, no. You put a system together and you stick with it, right? So no random acts of marketing. You know what happens when I did random acts of marketing? I got random results. That's what happens. And that's what will happen to you if you just kind of do random acts of marketing. You'll get a little bit of results here and there. You know, like if you're like practicing your list building, but you're not being consistent with it, you're just like, yeah, a little bit here, a little bit there, you'll get inconsistent results. You know, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby, right? So that's what I say. No random acts of marketing. If you got a product on the market right now, ask yourself, how am I marketing this thing? Am I doing random acts of marketing, or do I have like a system in place for how I'm, getting traffic to it, So that's the first thing. No random acts of marketing. Don't do that. What's the second thing? This second thing I'm going to tell you about, man, this has a lot to do with the product I'm launching right now, the new PLR manifesto. But the second thing is don't be typical. All right. Do not be typical. When you look at me on this live stream, I don't look like your typical marketer, right? Here I am wearing this trashy shirt, sitting in my garage. I had a guitar. I got some amps behind me, some more electric guitars. I got power tools and vice clamps behind me and stuff. Like I'm not typical. I'm not your typical marketer. I'm different. I am a little bit different than what you'd expect. I am my own thing. All right. And everything I do is a little different. And what happens is that creates differentiation for me. Now, in all fairness, I'm just being myself. But what I'm telling you is you need to be yourself. And yourself is different than the people you're learning from online, right? You are not me, right? So if you're being yourself, it's like that's going to look unique unto you, right? And just because you learn marketing from someone like Dan Henry, or you learn marketing from someone like Russell Brunson, or you learn marketing from someone, like whoever, I can name 1,000 different marketers. You learn marketing from someone like that. You tend to want to ape them a little bit. Don't do that. Don't ape them. Think about the stuff they're doing, and then you got to apply it through your own filter and be yourself, right? You take the principles away from what they're doing, but understand it all has to go through this filter where it comes out uniquely you, right? So you don't want to be typical, right? Now, and the reason why that applies to my product, the new PLR manifesto, is because I'm an email marketer, right? And that is a package of emails. Now, they are stylistic emails, even though they are PLR, and I've created them so that anybody can use them. Man, they are stylistic. They're designed to get impact. Okay, this is better. If you use AI to create your email, up to snuff. They are not up to snuff. And in my view, they are just not good enough. And I feel like more and more people can see it. They can see the AI sameness of it all. They can see it. And I know people are trying to write these AI emails and they're trying to humanize them, add the human touch and stuff like that. But it just goes beyond that, right? It's the topics the AI has chosen to talk about. It's the way it approaches the openers. It's the way it approaches the transitions. It's the way it approaches the stories. It's everything. There's too much sameness in it, right? And what that does is it creates a lack of impact in your email marketing. All right. And I think I don't even have to tell you guys this. I'm sure you're seeing it. I look around on Substack and what I see is like a lot of sameness. Everyone sounds the same, right? And that's because they all got AI helping them. They all got AI helping them workshop titles. They got AI helping them workshop subjects. They got AI helping them write their stuff, so they all are sounding the same. Even if they try to humanize it, it doesn't matter. There's too many decisions being made by AI. So in that way, like when you buy like PLR from someone like me who actually creates the content, who actually writes the content, the new PLR manifesto comes with 14 video proof of authenticity. 14 videos. I literally recorded myself writing those emails. 8,500 words, 5 hours of video of me recording myself. Thought process, how the whole thing comes together, everything. You get that whole thing because it's important. It's important to have that style. It's important to have those human ideas. Okay, that is what creates impact in the inbox. And again, it comes back to this thing that I'm telling you not to do. Don't be typical. You got to be a little bit different. You got to find a way to differentiate from everybody else. So, if you're going to make a video or you're going to write an article or you're going to talk anywhere online, you got to ask yourself, am I being typical here? Is this just like typical? I mean, because if it is, then maybe you need to rethink doing that. Could you do it in a way that's more interesting? Could it be less boring? Um, it's a good way to just waste your time and get ignored if you're going to be typical online. That's what I'd tell you. All right, number 3. What's the third one? Don't underestimate your worth. All right, it's very easy if you're not getting the amount of sales that you want, or you're seeing marketers and online business folks that you deem to be like at a higher level than you, charging this much for their stuff. So you feel like, oh, well, they're charging that much for their stuff. I can't charge that much for my stuff. I'm not on their level. Help or something like that. And you want to put out a self-help course, Robbins. You see Tony Robbins charging like, $50 for his self-help thing or whatever. They're like, oh, well, I'm not as good as Tony Robbins. I can't charge $50 then. I better charge $20. Stuff like that, right? Basically underestimating your own worth. Don't do stuff like that. It's easy for me to give you that as something not to do. Yeah, obviously I shouldn't be underestimating my own worth. How do you not underestimate your own worth? How do you avoid doing that? Because it's easy to do. Well, the first thing is to not compare yourself to other people. All right, that's the first thing. I gave you Tony Robbins as an example. Tony Robbins is a celebrity. Well, if you're not a celebrity, and the reason you're charging your prices is based on it's based on your knowledge and what you can do for people. None of that is a charge. None of that is an amount that's based on a celebrity status. It is an amount that is based on the results you can get for your client, right? So the charge is based on the result you can deliver, not on any kind of celebrity status. So definitely don't compare yourself to celebrity status individuals because they're playing by to celebrity status. It's linked to results you can generate. So that's the about worth. The second thing I would tell you about worth is your worth is not linked to how well your last sale did. Your worth is not linked to if you put out a product and it did well or it didn't do well. Let's say you offered a service last week. You were going to help people figure out how to build their email list. And you've done a good job building your email list. You've put like 5,000 people on your email list. You did it in a couple months. That's a great skill, man. A lot of people would love to be able to build a list of 5,000 people in a couple months. Well, you did it. So good job. Now, you try to launch a product, an ebook, showing people how to do that, and it doesn't sell very well, right? You only sell like 50 copies or something. Okay, it flopped. All right, well, does that mean if you charged $50 for that product and it flopped, does that mean that the next time you launch a product, you're going to charge less? You're going to charge $20 because the last one flopped and you charge $50? Well, a lot of people would say, yeah, because they get in their own head. They get in their own head and they say, oh man, this must be because like I'm not the list building king, Nobody knows who I am, so I can't charge as much. You know what I mean? People get in their own heads and they start lowering their prices, right? So what I'm telling you is don't underestimate your own worth. If you charge $50 before and you didn't sell that many, you got to understand your worth your worth is not based on how many copies your last product sold or how many you know copies your last service sold. Your worth is based on the benefit you can deliver to your customer. Okay, so that didn't change. If you can put 5,000 people on an email list in 2 months, it doesn't matter if your product flopped. It doesn't change the value you can deliver for people. So when your next product comes out, it should that's worthy of that price. They think, well, I can't if I'm not supposed to lower my price, then how would I fix that problem? You fixed it with marketing. You obviously had a disconnect with your marketing, okay? But it doesn't mean you're worth less. It doesn't mean you're worth less. The price, your worth, the price you charge for your product, it's heavily linked to the benefit that you can deliver and what you think that people you're marketing to. Internet's kind of like cutting in and out, so you might not be getting what I'm saying. This is a very important point. Your worth, um, and how much you charge for something, it's also based on who you're marketing to, who you're charging. You think about the difference between like a $1,000 book, a high ticket book, and a $20 book. Often the difference is who your books sell for $1,000 that have great information in them. I've seen like I bought a book. I bought a book. I bought a book for $1.99. That changed my life. It cost me $1.99. It's called Membership Sites That Make Money. I bought it on Amazon. It was an ebook. You can't even get it in physical form. That's how cheap it is. And I had to print it out, and it changed my life, man. So it was $1.99. So you got really expensive books out there, and you got really cheap books out there, and they can all. Um, in that case, the difference is who you're selling to. That's the difference. But in no way, shape, or form is your worth like really linked to the performance of the last thing you sold, right? So you got to be careful because what happens if you have a few bad sales, if you have a few like flopperoonies, then what happens is you start to like decrease the value of your worth, right? And you got to be careful with that. It's a mental game. Okay, number 4. What's the fourth thing? Learning from too many people. Don't learn from too many people. Um, I always look at this like mixed martial arts. You think about mixed martial arts. You got people who do mixed martial arts. The way they is they become really, really good at one thing. They specialize in one thing, like jujitsu or like striking. Like they become really good at boxing or wrestling, right? They become really good at wrestling or karate. That's like their main thing. But then what they do is they kind of minor in a few other mixed martial arts. They kind of minor a few other, martial arts, right? But that's not their main thing. Um, you might think, well, why don't they just become like a master at all the martial arts? It would make them very like mediocre at all the martial arts if they tried to do that. They spend a majority of their time continuing to get better at the one thing, and then they also work on other things on the side to complement those abilities, right? So what I'm saying is when there's a lot of ways to make money online, and there's a lot of people who I'm I'm struggling with my connection. So that's what when I stop, it's because my screen went black and I don't know if you can hear me or not. There's a lot of people who know how to make money online, and they all have different ideologies. They all have different philosophies, and none of them are necessarily wrong. In fact, I was just talking to my good friend Marlon Sanders earlier today. Like we are in 100%. We are in 100% disagreement on AI. Like we do not agree on this AI thing at all. Like he is like many marketers out there, he is full on embracing AI. He loves AI. In fact, I don't know any other marketers like myself who are openly detesting AI. I'm like the only one. I'm like out of the cool kids club because I am detesting AI. So it is a lonely island to be on. That is how I feel. But the point is, am I right? Is he right? We can both be right. We can both be right on our various points. And what I'm telling you is there's many like people to learn from when it comes to online business out there, and they can have alternating philosophies. And what I'm saying is there's more than one online business. There's more than one right way to do online business. There's many, many different ways to do online business, and they can all be right. Um, but the thing about it is, circling it back around to my MMA analogy, if you try to study too many different ones, too many different philosophies, if you try to learn from too many different people, what's going to happen is it's all going to get blended up in your mind, and you're going to become a very mediocre online business guy. You're going to become a very mediocre marketer, right? Most important is if you just pick just one to really be like your special style, right? And then you supplement it with some other stuff. That's how I approach it. And that's how I've approached it these last 15 years. Usually like I'm only studying one thing at a time, Like a couple years ago I was studying Ben Settle, right? And I was trying to become better at the way he does his style of online marketing, right? Because I resonated with his email marketing. I wrote emails in a similar style to him before I ever even knew who he was. So when I started reading his emails, I resonated with that style. So then he did other things I didn't do, like print publishing and stuff. So I wanted to learn, and he had been marketing about twice as long as me. So I wanted to learn. So I spent a year just studying Ben Settle, and it was really cool. I got to interview him and everything. But that's what I mean. And when I was spending that year studying Settle and buying his books and studying his email, I was a member of his email players for a whole year studying all his stuff, like I wasn't trying to learn from a bunch of other people. I was just focused on that one like style and philosophy of online business, right? And that's what I would suggest to you, man. Don't try to study from a bunch of different people. And this is easy to mess up because there's so many different people out there right now touting their philosophies and their ideologies. And the worst part about it is half of these people aren't even real. They're not even real, man. They're just pumping out AI content. They don't even have a style. They don't even have a philosophy. Nothing they're saying is their own stuff, right? They have nothing, right? So it's insane right now. So like again, when it comes to learning online business, just, pick somebody who is doing a good job and just really try to study under them, with the understanding, that there's lots of people succeeding online and there's more than one right way to do things. You pick somebody who resonates with you, have maybe one or two people who really resonate with you and just study under them and try to learn as much as you can. You'll know when it's time to move on. You'll know when it's time to kind of like break out and kind of like find another mentor or whatever. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is don't bring on too much at once. Don't bring on too much at once. Don't learn from too many people. You're just going to become a mediocre blend of a bunch of people and you're not going to be efficient at any of that stuff. I mean, do you want to be really, really good at one martial art? Or do you want to just be kind of like mediocre at like 20 martial arts, right? Because if you're mediocre at like 20 martial arts, you're probably going to get your butt kicked by the guy who's like a black belt at one martial art. That's probably what's going to happen. And that's what happens online. People try to study from too many different people, and they just like, they aren't very good and they don't have a lot of success and they don't know why things don't work for them. And a lot of the reason why things aren't working for them is because they don't go deep enough on just one philosophy, one style of doing things. They don't stick with it long enough, and they just don't see success, right? So, anyways, what's the last thing? What's number 5? The fifth thing is, and again, everything I'm talking to you about, I have made all these mistakes, okay? I have practiced random acts of marketing, okay? I have been typical. I have put out videos and content that was typical in the past. I have underestimated my own worth many times. I once reduced the price of all my stuff to like $2, right? And I ran a big sale for $2 for everything, you know, it made all my affiliates mad and everything, you know? I have tried to learn from too many different people, man. I have like consumed stuff from all these different people and been very, very, you know, kind of mediocre, blending too many ideas together, too many philosophies together. I mean, think about it, man. With that learning from too many different people, I mean, it's like, you know, you can't take like 10 different religions and like mix them all together and think you're going to come up with something good, you know. It's probably not going to work out very good. You're going to probably end up with like a death cult. So yeah, and then the fifth one. What's the fifth one? Don't get discouraged. All right, it's very, very easy to get discouraged. You know, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I still get discouraged. I do. I get discouraged. You know, like right now, in fact, you know, I'm selling the new PLR manifesto. And the new PLR manifesto, it's a PLR package, and you know, it's my first PLR package that I've sold on Warrior Plus for 3 years. It's been 3 years since I've sold on Warrior Plus, and I'm coming back to sell the new PLR manifesto. And I knew that I was going to be fighting an uphill battle because everyone is so pro AI. You know, to be anti AI in the marketing world, man, that's a hard way to go. You know, like in the publishing world, like in the book publishing world, AI is kind of taboo. It's not good to use AI, you know. In the in the in other spaces, the art world, like for example, in the art world, it's not good to, it's taboo to use AI. You know, they want you to do everything, you know, by hand or whatever. It's art, man. Art, it's gotta keep the human alive, you know. But in marketing, in my realm, you know, not embracing AI, you're kind of like the outdated dinosaur. You're like the grumpy old guy yelling at clouds. You know, people don't want to look to you like you know all the new stuff, right? They want to learn from the people who know all the new stuff, right? And AI is the hot hand right now, so everyone wants to learn about AI. AI is the easy bag. It's the easy money bag, right? AI, what does it do? It makes your life easier, right? It makes your life faster, easier, and it's cheap, right? So, of course, everyone wants to learn about it. And then you have me over here railing against AI. So I knew that it was going to be a rough road for me, right? And it can be discouraging. Um, you know, it's always discouraging when sales aren't exactly what you want them to be. Um, you know, what I would tell you is that you know, marketing and online business is like anything else. There's ups, there's downs, but you know, you'll be up again. You just gotta like stick with it, you know what I mean? Like with this particular launch, by the way, if you're interested in the new PLR manifesto, it's at epicconversions.com /no AI emails. Epicconversions.com /no AI emails. Epicconversions.com /no AI emails. If you're interested in the new PLR manifesto, that is where you can find it. Um, you know, I've had ups and downs throughout my career, and this is no different. Um, the fact of the matter is, the best thing that you can do, um, two, a couple things I'll tell you about being discouraged. One, know your market. That's the best thing you can do. That'll cut down on your discouragement, because it's risk management, right? It's like you don't want to have as many flops. You don't want sales to be less than what you expected. Learn your market. The better you know your market, the less flops you're going to have, the better things are going to go for you. Okay, that's the first thing I would tell you. The second thing I would tell you is, you know, sometimes it's not often, right? But sometimes you just have to take a stand. You just have to go against your market, right? It doesn't usually go good for you. So when I launched the new PLR manifesto and I kind of took this stand, kind of like opposite AI a little bit. I mean, I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle. I knew that there was going to be, lots of people who were not interested in it because they're pro AI. They want to sell stuff about AI. They want to buy stuff about AI. AI is still kind of a hot hand for them. Um, but in my view, when it comes to AI, um, AI is kind of a scourge on humanity. I feel like, and I know that sounds dramatic. Let me explain. I just mean that AI um, is really starting to decimate many industries right now. Epidemiology, I see epidemiologists, man, people who hold PhDs in epidemiology, um, losing their jobs because AI. I mean, that's nuts, man. Do we really want AI, figuring out where the viruses are and how the viruses operate instead of actual skilled PhD scientists? I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, that seems kind of weird to me. Software engineers who've been doing it for a long time, losing their positions. Creative people, educated people, people with being let go simply because of artificial. Uh, um, that don't seem right to me. That don't sit right with me. And I feel like it's only going to get worse. I feel like there's going to be a lot of pain that happens, and when enough people are displaced from their jobs, when enough people are suffering because AI has ruined their livelihood, then what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot more people seeing it like I see it. That's what I think. I don't know how much pain has to happen, but I think I'm probably early. I'm probably early, but that's what I did not expect. Um, you know, that's just the way it is. It's discouraging that I'm at odds with some of my marketing pals, but that's what it is. You just have to come to expect things like that. I try not to burn bridges with people. And sometimes you do got to burn bridges with people, and sometimes you just are at fundamental disagreements with people, and that's just how it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I just feel like when it comes to discouragement, you know, you gotta look on the bright side. You gotta be positive. I'm a realist, okay? So every time something might be discouraging to you, you got to understand there's always a pro to it. There's always something. Well, you couldn't do this. Oh, well, good. That gives you more time to work on this. Oh, that product launch flopped and you look like a fool. Oh, well, good. Gives that gives you a chance to look under the hood and figure out what went wrong so you can try it again and do it better next time. It gives you a more of a chance to work on your skills at this, or more of a chance to work on your skills at that. There's always like a positive side to it. You're like, even if I had to go out of business because my entire market has railed against me and nobody wants to deal with someone who doesn't like AI, if that's the case, good. That'll give me a chance to give the internet a break and get back to the real world for a while. I'll go work at a normal job and work in the real world. Maybe I'll start an offline business. Maybe that'll give me a chance to start an offline brick and mortar business. There's always a positive, you know what I mean? So I would just tell you, over the last 15 years, there's been many times that I have been discouraged. You always got to find a bright side. You always got to try to find a positive. And that doesn't mean that you can't sit with that discouragement sometimes. Sometimes I'll sit with that discouragement for a little while. I'll give myself a day to be discouraged about something, and then I wake up one thing. But find a way to get back up on the horse and hit it again. Get after it, right? I'm telling you, as long as you keep getting after it, you will win, because you're up, you're down, but then you're up again. And that's always how it goes. I've been doing this for 15 years. You never stay down for good. Anyways, that's my 5 things. This is I don't know how well this is going to come out. It's been like cutting out on me, so my connection's not very good. I hope this has been helpful to you. Be sure to check out my new product. It's called the New PLR Manifesto. It's at epicconversions.com/no AI emails. epicconversions.com/no AI emails. epicconversions.com/no AI emails. I'm at Cam from Epic Conversions.